Formula 1 heads to Italy for the last round of the European season, and what a way to conclude the European season by a trip to the legendary Temple of Speed circuit of Monza, one of my favourite Grand Prix of the season. Love the track, love the Grand Prix, love the Tifosi, a very passionate crowd, and of course they are devoted to their team and the home team for this weekend, which is of course Ferrari, coming into this weekend off the back of a very solid victory for Charles Leclerc, his first win in Formula 1, overshadowed by the tragic events, but nevertheless a very good Grand Prix from him. What can he do this weekend? And his teammate Sebastian Vettel should have been a Ferrari 1-2. It wasn't the case. However, coming into this weekend for the home round, for the home team, for the Tifosi, what can they do? Can they get a 1-2? Can they win their first Grand Prix for about 10 years? The last Grand Prix win was all the way back in 2010 for Ferrari. So can they do it this weekend? In my opinion, I think this is probably their best opportunity to do so. But before we jump into the preview, as always, let's take a look at the standings heading into the Italian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton extended his lead over his teammate Valtteri Bottas. He's on 268 points and Bottas is on 203 points. Max Verstappen, a very disappointing show last time out. He's in 3rd place. Sebastian Vettel in 4th. Last time race winner Charles Leclerc in 5th place. Pierre Gasly, a good solid show in Spa for 6th place. Carlos Sainz P7. Danny Kvyat and Kimi Raikkonen swap places for 8th and 9th. And Alex Albon appears in the top 10 for the first time this season. So looking at the bottom half of the table then, Lando Norris in the McLaren on 24 points in 11th place, Daniel Ricciardo in 12th place, Sergio Perez last week signed a 3-year contract extension with Racing Point, he's in 13th, Nico Hülkenberg in 14th place, still speculation over his future, where's he going to be next season, Lance Stroll in other Racing Point in 15th place, the two Hasses in 16th and 17th respectively, Giovinazzi in 18th, Robert Kubica in 19th, and George Russell still props up the table in 20th place. So there's the tables then heading into the Italian Grand Prix. Now, about this time in the last preview, I did some stats and some like driver form coming into this weekend, which I thought it went down quite well. It was something new to our previews, so I thought I would do it again for this preview. But instead, I thought I would add a little bit of a twist on it. I thought I would just look into the overall stats of Ferrari, with them being the home team and with the Tifosi just being so passionate about the Italian team, who are celebrating their 90th anniversary of being Ferrari. I know there was a lot of confusion about, hang on a minute, 2 years ago it was 70 years, now it's 90 years, what's going on? I think 70 years was the racing team itself, but 90 years is Ferrari as a whole, when Enzo Ferrari, the founder of Ferrari, of course, founded the car manufacturer. So I think that's obviously that is why they are celebrating 90 years this season. So it's a very good celebration, and it'll be even better if they can round off, have a brilliant Grand Prix and go for the 1-2. So Ferrari stats overall, they've got 236 wins overall in Formula 1. They've had 272nd places in 257 third places. Hopefully they can add up to some of them numbers this weekend with both their drivers, should they have a good result. 223 poles, 763 podiums, and 83 1-2 finishes, hoping to make it 84 this weekend. And of course, Ferrari have won this Grand Prix 18 times, but like I said at the start of it, they haven't won it since 2010, when Fernando Alonso, in his first season of Ferrari, took the checker flag that day. Ferrari haven't had the really best of luck when it comes to the Italian Grand Prix in recent years, have they? They were all over the place in 17, they looked off the pace then. In 18, they had a very competitive car, and then they locked out the front row of the grid, didn't they? But then Vettel spun and Raikkonen just got caught by Hamilton, towards the end of the race. And that was kind of when Vettel's downward spiral in form kind of started at the Italian Grand Prix, and it was of course this weekend that Raikkonen was told he would be losing his seat. I think it was told on the morning of the Grand Prix, which was a bit strange to be telling your driver who's lined up on pole position at your home Grand Prix that, oh, by the way, guy, you're not going to be here next season. Yeah, well done from Ferrari on that one. So yes, they have won the Grand Prix 18 times, but in this century rather, since the year 2000, they've won the Italian Grand Prix only 6 times, and out of a total of 19 Grand Prix, which is a bit disappointing. 6 out of 19 Grand Prix at your home race. I know they haven't had the best of cars in recent years, but they have had race-winning cars, and Should they be winning races like the Italian Grand Prix? Absolutely. Ferrari, for me, have got a strong engine. They've got a strong car, a very strong team. It's just missing pieces of the puzzle to complete what would be a very good team of Ferrari this season, and of course last season and the season before. There's a few things that just aren't working together, and within time, I think Ferrari will become become the force, of well enforced that they once were recognised for. Like, of course, during the Schumacher days. Ferrari are bringing the Spec 3 engine to the Italian Grand Prix this weekend, which makes perfect sense because it's their home Grand Prix. They want both their drivers to be on point, the fastest that they possibly can be. So I think for me, yeah, it makes perfect sense. The last engine that they can use, because if they use any more, then of course they will get an engine penalty. So moving off to, that was like kind of like a mini Ferrari stat, if you like, coming off Ferrari a little bit. I know that there will be engine penalties for Max Verstappen, who's bringing the Spec 4 engine. Well, Honda's bringing the Spec 4 engine for Red Bull. And also Pierre Gasly will be getting a grid penalty as well for changing the power unit, also getting a Spec 4. Albon and Kvyat ran it last time out, although Kvyat was the only driver to run the new power unit because Albon ran it in FP1 and 2. And then for Saturday, I think he changed it to a pre-French Grand Prix engine, which was the Spec 2, I believe. So I think Albon will be running the new engine this weekend. Of course, it won't be a penalty because he's already had the engine change. He's already had the penalty. Verstappen will, of course, get the engine fitted on the Friday. Whether he will run it this weekend, I don't know, because the engines take a lot of stress, a lot of strain at this Grand Prix. So who knows whether Red Bull will actually run the engine this weekend. Also as well, some of the stats on some of the drivers. Mercedes could match McLaren's record of 10 Grand Prix wins, who are currently second in the all-time constructors winners list at Monza. McLaren have 10, Mercedes have 9. If they win this weekend, they'll of course match it and go joint second. Lewis Hamilton has a stunning record here for the past 7 years rather. 5 out of 7 Italian Grand Prix he has won since the year 2012. Of course, Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel winning the other 2 that Lewis didn't win. So Lewis is probably coming into this a strong favourite, even though they'll be playing them down. A lot of people will be playing him down, and himself will be playing him down. But when it comes to Italian drivers, they don't really have the same much luck, do they? I think. We haven't had an Italian driver. Well, actually, yes, we do. Sorry, we have got Antonio Giovinazzi on the grid, but he's not going to win the Grand Prix, is he? I do apologise with that, but yes, he isn't going to win the Grand Prix, is he? I think Jarno Liuzzi was the last Italian drivers to race before, of course, Antonio Giovinazzi. The last actually Grand Prix winner the last Italian Grand Prix winner who was an Italian driver. It was a driver called Ludovico Scarfiotti, which I hope I pronounced that correctly. He was the last driver to win at the Italian Grand Prix who was an Italian driver. Who can be the next one to do that? Only time will tell. So this weekend we are celebrating the 70th Grand Prix that was been held in Italy. The Italian Grand Prix being held for a 70th time. 68 times it's been held at the track of Monza, and only once, but I think it was back in 1980 when it was held at the circuit of the Imola circuit. I can't remember who won that day off the top of my head. So yes, obviously this weekend marks the 69th visit to the Monza, obviously the Autodromo di Monza, a brilliant Grand Prix circuit. Me and Lyle went there 2 years ago, back in 2017. A brilliant experience. Highly recommend anybody who's considering going to a Grand Prix abroad, certainly have a look at the Italian Grand Prix if you haven't been already, because it's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And actually this week it actually celebrates its 87th birthday, the Autodromo di Monza. It was actually opened on the 3rd of September 1922, and actually its first Grand Prix was held on the 10th of September 1922, which was actually the second ever Italian Grand Prix. The first one was held the year before in 1921 at another circuit. I can't remember where it was, but the second Italian Grand Prix was held for the first time at the Monza Grand Prix circuit. Drivers could reach up to speeds of 360 kilometers per hour this weekend, or 224 miles per hour. And on the subject of speed, if you remember last season, Kimi Räikkönen, on his way to pole position, actually set the fastest ever lap in terms of average speed time in Formula 1 of a speed of 163.785 miles per hour, or 263.587 kilometers per hour, depending on how you want to look at it. The start finish straight is one of the longest straights in Formula 1. I think it's the third or fourth longest straight that we've got on the calendar. It's a total of 1.12 kilometers, or 1,224.847 yards to be precise. So yeah, stats all over the place for you guys. Hope you did enjoy this little special stat piece of Ferrari, a little bit of Mercedes, and of course the Autodromo de Monza circuit. And just quickly as well, that the weather rumours so far this weekend, it's supposed to be dry on Friday and Saturday, and then come Sunday, race day, it's supposed to be thunderstorm. It's supposed to be raining. Not what Ferrari want, in my opinion. I think Red Bull will be praying at their lucky stars, hopefully wearing their lucky pants on race day, because it's supposed to rain on Saturday night into Sunday. So maybe a delayed start, maybe a safety car start, maybe a race like we saw in Germany. Who knows how good of a Grand Prix that was. But Ferrari will be aware that maybe the rain, it might not go their way this weekend. But as I said, it's only rumours. But there is a high chance that it could rain on race day. So that's my stats and everything out the way with. So it's now time to move on to our predictions. Now, before I hand over to Lyle and give his predictions, just remember that we've got our own prediction league going along. It went very well last time out. So yes, and obviously a lot of you guys enjoyed it. And of course, we are continuing this throughout the course of the season. So this round and next one in Singapore, then Russia, and Japan, and so forth, all the way to Abu Dhabi for the last race of the season. If you do want to take part, then of course all you have to do is comment below this video, or go and find our pinned tweet on Twitter, and just basically predict your top three. Who do you think will finish on the podium at the end of the Grand Prix on Sunday? You will be entered. But of course, you don't have to enter. You can just leave your top three, and then that'll be it. Just let us know that you don't want to be in the league. And of course, if you have entered in the league already, then just do the same again, what you have done either on Twitter, Facebook, or underneath this particular video. Then of course you'll be entered. We'll give it a like, give it a love, or whatever, just so you know that we have seen. Just so you know that we have seen your tweet. So yes, that's my bit done. I'll give my predictions after Lyle's given his. So let's see who he thinks will be on the podium for the Italian Grand Prix.
One word comes to mind when you think about the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. That's Ferrari or Tifosi. They're the two things that are prevalent here at this one of the oldest circuits in Europe. Now, there hasn't been a Ferrari on the top step of the podium for over a decade in Formula 1 now at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. They want to rectify that this weekend. It's a back-to-back race with Spa, and Charles Leclerc took his first win in Belgium. They will want to emulate that either with another Ferrari win in Sebastian Vettel, or a second back-to-back win with Charles Leclerc. But let's see what happens, and let's see what my predictions say. So in third place, I'm going to be going for the man at Ferrari, but not the man who got onto the podium last weekend, which is Sebastian Vettel. Now, he's a very strange driver. It was over a year ago since he's now won in Formula 1. The 2018 Belgian Grand Prix, the race that I was at, was the last time Sebastian Vettel, the Weltmeister, took his step on the podium, or the top step on the podium rather. It's been a very strange rollercoaster ride for the man who was trying to emulate Michael Schumacher in winning the World Championship with one team, moving to Ferrari and trying to win a World Championship. It hasn't gone his way. He's been outperformed by Charles Leclerc on many occasions, including in race performances, pole positions. Obviously, Charles has 3, Seb has none, and of course a race win, which Charles has 1 and Seb has none. It's really weird to think that, and Valtteri Bottas has won before, and people were saying that his contract was going to be under threat. What about Seb? The man who is winless in this season. Seb is still a great driver. I hope that he gets a win, but it is strange to think that we are so far in the World Championship in 2019 and he hasn't won a race. I don't think, though, he's going to do it this weekend. I do think that a third place will be strong enough for him. He finished 4th place in last year's race. A third place will be good. That's one Ferrari on the podium, so at least Tifosi will have something to cheer about. In second place, I'm going to be going for Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes. Now, last weekend in Belgium was a very good race by him. The Mercedes had an amazing strategy. Lewis Hamilton is a great driver, managing that tyre and the car well. In terms of straight line speed, though, the Ferrari was a lot faster, and he was even getting challenged by the Red Bull. Especially going down up the Kemmel Straight, Lewis Hamilton was getting overtaken by Sebastian Vettel and really feeling the threat, even though he did obviously catch him towards the end of the race. Lewis gone very well around Monza, obviously. We saw, when we went in 2017, we saw him become the most successful pole position holder, beating Michael Schumacher's record of 69, I believe. So that was very special from him. Obviously, there were a lot of British fans on that day as well. So yes, I think that'd be a good race by Lewis Hamilton. He did win last year's race. Quite controversially though, obviously with his collision with Sebastian Vettel on lap 1. But nevertheless, I do think that it will be a good race by him. Also by Mercedes as well. I do believe Valtteri will come through and get a good result for Mercedes. Now, the winner of the Italian Grand Prix. Now, am I going to say Charles Leclerc? Am I going to say a back-to-back win for him? No. And the man I'm going to say is going to win is the man who's been, I want to say since Germany. It feels like he's been away for quite a few months where nothing's really happened by him, but obviously he is the winner, basically the outshining student, the only one to get an A star in our half-term report, and that of course is the man that I'm wearing, is Max Verstappen. Red Bull and Italy haven't had the best rapport. It's fast straight, it's fast corners. Obviously, there's been teams like Ferrari and Mercedes who look like they've capitalised on that. But Max Verstappen, especially after his Belgian performance, he will be out on a charge. In the Belgian Grand Prix, he retired on lap 1 with a collision with Kimi Raikkonen. I said it was a racing incident, although the F1 community is very, very, split on that decision. Nevertheless, in front of Dutch fans as well, and slipping down in the order will not be good for him. In the World Championship, he is 181 points. He slipped away from Valtteri Bottas. That's about 20 points, 24 points away from him. He is also in touch and distance of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel sits on 169 and Verstappen sits on 181, which is 12 points away. So, depending on how this race pans out for somebody else, he might catch Max. And of course, Max doesn't want that, especially when, after Hungary, second place was in his grasp. I don't think that's anymore, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. Second place is going to be a challenge, but definitely not fourth place for the Dutchman, especially now because he's gearing up to get himself into a World Championship contention position for 2020. I do believe that he will get there. So that was my top 3, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. I do believe that the Dutchman will get a win here. A very strong performance by Red Bull throughout the year so far, and yes, that I think today the Monaco Grand Prix will be the Italian Grand Prix will be good for him. So yes, that was my top 3. I hope you agree with Jordan's as well. Honourable mentions, shout out, of course, I'm going to say Kimi Raikkonen, the driver who last year I was struggling to follow him, I was struggling to kind of believe in him. This year that he's moved to Alfa Romeo though, absolutely incredible from him, really good. Now he finished second place in last year's race with Scuderia Ferrari, obviously making it a Ferrari driver on the podium. So that was really good from him. He got pole position as well on the Saturday. I don't think he'll do that again though in the Alfa Romeo. Good strong performance by him. Obviously he is an ex-winner, he is an ex-Ferrari driver, he is still a current Ferrari driver in his second phase. He is really adored by the Tifosi and also as well Alfa Romeo using a Ferrari engine. They should get some good performance here. I'll say ex-Ferrari driver as well, Kimi Raikkonen, driving a Ferrari car. Alfa Romeo from Switzerland as well, obviously it's very much kind of a home race for them as well. I do believe that they will have a very strong run, and now Kimi Raikkonen sits on 31 points in the World Championship contentions. Very strong from him. 2 points behind Pierre Gasly. So obviously, Danny Kvyat of the Toro Rosso, so he's got a big gap that he could actually get him in this race. So definitely got a lot of belief in him as well. Alfa Romeo also, Antonio Giovinazzi after his crash on the last lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, he will want to rectify any problems that he doesn't want to crash anymore. He definitely wants to rectify that. So yes, I do think that they'll have a great race. Toro Rosso as well. After the move, after the trading places, you would think that Toro Rosso might be a little bit disheartened after what's happened. Gasly, of course, just shaking that off, no problems whatsoever. Also as well, Danny Kvyat, a very strong 7th place by him in the Belgian Grand Prix. Really good as well. Toro Rosso are an Italian manufacturer, so let's hope that they get some good home support. I'm going to say Danny Kvyat's going to have a great race. A definitely very strong 6th, 7th, 8th place from him. Pierre Gasly as well, shaking off the haters, shaking off the Red Bull wars, and showing that he is still a very strong driver, and he's still in contention for a Red Bull 2020 seat. Is definitely what we want to see. So yes, I do believe that they're a team to watch. I'd say my team to watch, Toro Rosso, and my driver to watch is Kimi Raikkonen. So that is my predictions for the Italian Grand Prix. Yes, that is me. I hope you enjoy the race. I can't wait for this one. It's my review again on Sunday, so please stay tuned for that. And obviously all the other stuff that we have in the rest of the season. And yes, back to the studio, Jordan. Enjoy the episode.
So some healthy predictions there from Lyle, but he has got a tricky situation on his hands. He said Vettel third, Hamilton second, but he said Max Verstappen to win the Grand Prix. I think he did this before they announced the engine penalty, so I think if he had taken that into consideration, I think he would have changed his predictions. But nevertheless, no one has ever won all the way back from last and won the Grand Prix before. So who can it happen this weekend? If it can happen to anybody, it could probably happen to Max Verstappen. But before I actually jump into my predictions, I just want to say that just quite recently that they have announced that the Italian Grand Prix will stay on the calendar for another 5 years till the end of 2024, which is brilliant news in my opinion. I love the Italian Grand Prix. You should have the 4 jewels in the crown in my opinion on the calendar at all times. The Belgian Grand Prix, I wouldn't say the Spanish Grand Prix there, the Belgian Grand Prix, the Monaco Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, and the Italian Grand Prix. All of them have now been secured on the calendar. Very, very happy about that. Can't wait for the future. In fact, actually, I don't know if has Belgium been secured? That's a good one, actually. I'm not too sure. I thought they had. I might be wrong. Let me know. I'm not too sure about Belgium, but I know. I think Monaco has. I know Silverstone has, and now Monza has. So what a brilliant way to cap off that piece of segment. Yes. So big news in the past few days. The Italian Grand Prix will stay on the F1 calendar till the end of 2024. Fantastic. So my top 3 then for the Italian Grand Prix. Now, I made my predictions first and then I changed it, okay? So this is my predictions in the first place. I've got scribbled out here. I said Hamilton third, Vettel second, and Charles Leclerc first. I then backed out of it and I then went with Vettel third, Hamilton second, and Charles Leclerc first. Now, the reason why I've swapped Vettel and Hamilton is because I know this is before I knew Ferrari was bringing the Spec 3, but the race pace of the Ferrari, it doesn't look that particularly impressive, if you know what I mean. I thought in Spa, the Ferrari would just more or less go off into the distance and it would never be seen again. And Hamilton was, obviously he caught Sebastian and he was going to catch Charles, maybe another lap or two and he would have caught him. And I was like, right, the Ferrari car is more powerful, but how come the Mercedes is gaining on it so much? And I think that's because it's more than the power. It's all about the aero on the car. I think for me, the Mercedes is a much better car. It's both powerful and it's both aerodynamically, beneficial, if you like. But it's like the Ferrari car, the power is probably more than the Mercedes, but the overall chassis of the car, it's probably not as strong as what you would think, or what it's been, what it was shown in the early part of the season anyway. So I've got a feeling that I think we'll see a similar kind of situation where Ferrari will lock out the front row. I think they will. I think Vettel will get pole and Leclerc will get second. However, I think Vettel's race pace is nowhere near Leclerc's, and I think that'll hinder him in the race. And I think Vettel will suffer badly, maybe even get another P4. I think it could be a similar sort of result what we're seeing in Spa. I think Vettel possibly might sacrifice his race once again, which I must say, credit where it's due. I thought Vettel was very respectful of that. I thought he put the team first. Very, very well done from him. Showing more maturity now, because back in the day, he probably wouldn't have done that. But nevertheless, he did it. Brilliant, obviously brilliant from him. I can see Ferrari being strong, but not as strong as what people thinking that they're going to be. Of course, I could be totally wrong, because they're bringing a new engine. It could be all happy, glorious, 1-2 finish, no problem whatsoever. If they could set into the sunlight, into the sunset, never be seen again until the check flag, and that could be proven wrong once again. But my predictions aren't doing too bad, and I've already predicted 2 drivers to end up where they are in my predictions for next season. So who knows? But I'm not counting my chickens just yet. So yeah, maybe Ferrari can't be that good. Who knows? I want to watch certainly would be the Red Bull, because if it does rain, then therefore Red Bull will be quite good, in my opinion. I know that obviously the track's not going to really suit their engine, but power doesn't really matter when it rains. It's more to do with, you know, the overall chassis of the car. How well can that do in the rain? I think McLaren's as well. I think they'll excel in the rain if it does rain. So, you know, who knows if one of the Ferraris or even the Mercedes slip up at the front, get Verstappen in there, Albon on the podium. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. He hasn't got a penalty this weekend, so who knows? Then again, Verstappen does. Why? Oh, who knows? Actually, yeah, Verstappen might make a charge. He's good in the rain. Verstappen winning from the back of the grid, winning the Italian Grand Prix from back of the grid in the rain. Imagine that. Imagine that. But it's all to come this weekend, isn't it, guys? So yes, this is where I'm going to wrap up this preview. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoyed your company as always. Just like what I said before about the prediction league, if you do want to leave your predictions, your top 3, then leave them in the comments of this video or go over to our Twitter at F1_DS16. Leave your predictions there under the pinned tweet. If you just go on our profile, you'll see a tweet explaining about round 2. You'll see the Italian flag GIF that we've got, just so you know where to put your predictions. Yes, and of course I forgot to mention as well, you've got until 10 minutes before lights out, just so we've got time to get everyone's predictions in, get them all together, and then I can just chill, watch the Grand Prix, and then do the review or whatever, and then sort the league and everything out. So yes, anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching as well. Don't forget to check out the F1 debate show, which comes out on Saturday. Ferrari themed in that one. Can't wait for you guys to see that one as well. And also, well, before I go, we did a video with the guys at F1 Fanatics. I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. Go and check that out as well. We did a fantasy league kind of debate show over it, if you like. It was pretty good. Me and Lyle really enjoyed it. And if you are new to their channel, please go and subscribe to the F1 Fanatics. Nice bunch of lads, Mike and Ash. Really down to earth as well. Love being on their channel, so go and check them out if you haven't already. And then, of course, check out our race review on Sunday with Lyle. Can't wait for that one, for the last European race of the season. Where's the season gone, guys? Where has the season gone? Oh, my word. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you're only around here, then please subscribe as well. And until next time, I'll see you later.